With Dexter Resurrection releasing in less than a month from the time I'm making this video, we've been hit with a wave of leaks and new coverage surrounding the spin-off series, revealing details most of us couldn't have imagined even a year ago. From shocking episode reveals to the return of fan-favorite characters, today's video is your full breakdown of everything you need to know about Dexter's return, including the overlooked clues and hidden details the internet hasn't been talking about. To start, let's go over the general plot of the season and what has been confirmed so far. On the official IMDb website, the synopsis is the following. Dexter Morgan awakens from a coma and sets out for New York City, determined to find Harrison and make things right. But when Miami Metro's Angel Batista arrives with questions, Dexter realizes his past is catching up to him fast. Although this description is relatively broad considering everything we saw in the trailer, it does officially confirm that Dexter was in a coma for some time. However, this could range anywhere from a couple weeks to a few months. It also allows us to know the overall direction Dexter is heading for in this new season. Before set photos and the cast were leaked, many believed that Harrison as a character would fade away after the rather unsatisfying ending we got in New Blood. But this in fact tells us that Dexter still holds great feelings for his son who essentially shot him in the heart, and is determined to get in contact with him in hopes to start over. However, one thing that is more interesting than this synopsis is what was shown in the official Dexter Resurrection trailer, and it helps us understand what will be going on besides Dexter and Harrison's dynamic. Peter Dinklage's character, called Leon Prater, appears to be a high-status wealthy individual who goes out of his way to hire serial killers in every type of field, for what I'm guessing is to take out people who threaten his public appearance. For the most part throughout the trailer, we see Dexter completing tasks for him and taking out other bad guys. Whether these guys fit the code is yet to be revealed, but we can assume that Dexter is rather more on edge these days, with him deliberately saying, "I'm tired of being careful." But I doubt he would go against Harry's code entirely, as that is an essential part of his character. And although he is on edge, Dexter genuinely seems to be happy with his life, something we haven't seen much of in the original series and in New Blood. In terms of all the characters we've seen in the trailer, IMDb's cast section tells us everything we need to know about their importance within the plot and how much screen time they will be getting. The characters that will be appearing in every single episode are Leon Prater, Dexter Morgan, Charlie, and as well Harrison. This allows us to know that these characters will play a major role in this upcoming season, unlike others such as Lowell, Mia Lapierre, and Gareth, who will only show up in 1 to 3 episodes out of the 10. But one thing that allows us to get closer to how the season will progress is none other than the confirmed episode titles. The first episode is titled A Beating Heart. Right out the gate, this should remind you of what Dexter said in the very first episode of Original Sin when he states, "A beating heart, I'll take it." This episode will likely set the stage of what the series will be and will act as a new introduction to this character we have known for so long. Episode 2, Camera Shy. This one screams cover up. Maybe someone's trying to hide something from the media or surveillance. Or maybe it's about Dexter or Harrison being caught on camera doing something they shouldn't. Other than that, I doubt that it's about Dexter being publicly announced as the Bay Harbor Butcher, since he would likely not be able to walk the streets of New York unnoticed. Episode 3, Backseat Driver. This sounds metaphorical. It could be about someone trying to control from the shadows, think manipulation or power struggles. Maybe Harrison is stepping up or someone else is pulling strings behind the scenes. Episode 4, Call Me Red. Now this is a weird one. Red could be a codename, a persona, or even a reference to blood. However, it could be someone taking on a new killer identity, possibly the introduction of Mia Lapierre, who was seen wearing red quite often in set photos. Episode 5, Murder Horny. It's clearly tongue-in-cheek, but knowing Dexter's world, it could mean someone gets off on killing, literally. Possibly introducing a new twisted killer, maybe even a copycat with a warped moral code. However, I generally think it's an episode where Dexter unleashes his dark passenger to the most, since he was possibly restricted for quite some time. time. Episode 6, Cats and Mouse. Not cat and mouse, but cats. Plural. That suggests multiple hunters chasing one target. Could this possibly be the point where Dexter or Harrison are being hunted by more than one threat? Episode 7, Course Correction. This sounds like a turning point episode. Maybe the plot shifts, someone's plan gets thrown off, or Dexter has to change direction, morally or physically. This is probably where things start to escalate fast. Episode 8, The Kill Room Where It Happens. A clear callback to Dexter's iconic kill rooms, but also a play on the room where it happens from Hamilton, suggesting power, secrets, and blood. This might be the climax moment we've been waiting for. Episode 9, Touched by an Angel. Besides the clever pun, this likely centers on Angel Batista. Maybe there's a moral confrontation or unresolved justice that finally catches up to Dexter. Episode 10, And Justice for All. The finale title feels heavy. It's echoing the idea of justice, but in Dexter's world, that rarely means fair. Expect a dark, possibly ambiguous ending. Will justice finally catch up to Dexter, or does he rewrite the rules again? Despite all these titles, it's really hard to say what these episodes will revolve around, but Daily Dexter perfectly sums up the general feeling it provides. From titles like Murder Horny to Touched by an Angel, the first season of Dexter Resurrection promises a blend of dark humor, psychological tension, and sharp commentary, hallmarks of the beloved original series. The evocative names are already sparking intense fan theories online, especially regarding returning characters and potential new threats. And speaking of returning characters, in the past couple of weeks, we have gotten extremely interesting news that confirms the return of beloved past characters from the original show. Just a few months ago, it was announced by Deadline that two very familiar antagonists would be returning from the original Dexter series. Emmy winners John Lithgow and Jimmy Smits are set to reprise their roles of Arthur Mitchell, aka the Trinity Killer, and Miguel Prado, respectively, in the Showtime original series Dexter Resurrection. Now, the only logical way these two characters could return is as Dexter's ghosts. Considering they are both dead, they would appear in a supernatural sense similar to Harry. However, when it comes to characters such as Joey Quinn and Vince Masuka, it's really more of a 50-50 due to the fact that their return has not yet been confirmed. The last we saw of these characters in terms of the Dexter universe was in Dexter New Blood, when we got a close-up of Batista's emails. In short, both of these characters are alive and well and appear to still be working for Miami Metro, but I really do think they have a possibility to make a cameo because both of the actors went on the Dexter After Show interview, showing that they still have an interest towards the franchise. But this isn't to say they would have a major role, at least for this season, mainly due to the fact that they aren't even present in the cast list. In more recent news, two other characters have been heavily teased in terms of reprising their roles in Resurrection, and it might not be in the way you think. Just a few weeks ago, it was announced that James Doakes, Eric King, is coming back to Dexter Resurrection, and his long-awaited return makes it even more likely that another character from the original Dexter will show up in the sequel series as well. When Clyde Phillips confirmed that Doakes would appear in Dexter Resurrection, he also confirmed that Doakes would be a hallucination in the sequel series. Doakes, of course, has been dead since Dexter Season 2, and Resurrection takes place well over a decade later. However, in a less official sense, another beloved character from the early Dexter franchise is heavily suspected to be returning to the small screen, and that character is none other than the man himself, Brian Moser, played by Christian Camargo. This speculation all started a few months back when the actor reposted a fan-made announcement of him returning for Resurrection. Aside from him coming to TikTok and showing his love and gratitude to Brian Moser fans, he recently posted a story that showed what appeared to be a wardrobe with identical replicas of Brian's iconic red and white shirt combo he wore in Born Free. And to add on, he even showed a picture of a camera which heavily points to his involvement within the show. But one thing about this doesn't add up. Since Dexter Resurrection has likely wrapped up, why is he only now posting videos of him on set? Could these be old footage he recorded when he filmed? Or could it be possible that we might only see him at the very end? Honestly, it's hard to say, but I strongly believe it's possible for him to make a guest appearance. In regards to theories and such, everything is up in the air in terms of what might be right and wrong. Although we know we will in fact not be getting Dexter Morgan working for the CIA like some might have thought, I do truly believe the trailer is hiding something from us in regards to Dexter working with all the other serial killers. After all the seasons and spin-offs we've watched surrounding this character, I highly doubt he will let the others live and get by his code. After all, these killers probably don't follow any sets of rules when it comes to killing, and when Dexter realizes it, he will deem them as threats that he needs to take out for the safety of others. This would make for a very interesting plot point within this already stacked storyline, but I'm still very curious to see how they address Angela's disappearance and the fact that Dexter isn't in a jail cell. The only thing that can really explain this odd contradiction is the idea of this show being multiple seasons. A few months ago, the showrunner had teased that Dexter Resurrection plans to run for years, hinting at it maybe being 2 to 4 seasons. When asked if they see Dexter Resurrection as a one-off or limited series, both Phillips and Hall made it clear that their ambitions go far beyond a single season. We've got the strongest franchise in Showtime's history, and we plan to do this for years, Phillips says. Hall chimes in, years with an S. The thinking is not to come back for a sort of self-contained one-off again, but leave it open to further exploration. The intention and hope is that the story will continue beyond this. Hell, even if it weren't the case, Dexter Morgan is a hard guy to keep down. He's a much more human, flesh and blood version of that horror trope of someone who just refuses to go down, Hall says. Overall, the trailer and the teasers that have been released recently leave me excited for this upcoming season of Dexter. Although he's in New York, I feel like they want to bring some of that Miami feel back to the franchise with the way they were promoting it with bright blue and bright red colors, mimicking the early original season's promos. If you enjoyed this video and would like ad-free early access content, please go check out my Patreon to see if anything interests you. Be sure to join the Discord to discuss your favorite pieces of media, and as always, like and subscribe, leaving your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.